go see the nurse. My dad was skewered at a construction site by a large steel rod last week. I believe it's called rebar, but I could be wrong. It went through his front and out his back. He went to the hospital to have it removed and some surgery to repair damages to his internal organs. The next day, my husband and I drove to our hometown about 40 minutes away to see him after the surgery. My husband dropped me off at the hospital while he went to my parents' house to feed and walk their dogs and to let the neighbor know what had happened and why my parents wouldn't be home for a while. While visiting my dad, he said that he was thirsty. The IV drip that gave him liquids wasn't enough. The ice chips they gave him wasn't enough. He wanted something stronger. So I left to go to the nurse's station to see what he was allowed to have. My dad wanted a beer, but I was pretty sure they couldn't get him one in the hospital. So I went to the nurse's station and asked what he was allowed to have. They checked the patient notes and said he could have mild juice, like apple, and that was about it besides water. I said thanks and walked down to the vending machine to get him an apple juice when this lady stuck a bunch of papers in my face and asked how to fill them out. I said I don't know. She should go to the nurse's station and ask that. She replied with, "The line's too long at the station and I'm here right now. So do my job and help her." I again said they can help you at the nurse's station and that I don't work here. I'm just visiting. Because it seems to be mentioned often here, I was wearing nothing like the hospital staff. I had on gold leggings, a college sweatshirt, and it was obvious I hadn't fixed my hair. It was tucked under a baseball cap. This lady said, "Why won't you help me? Who's your supervisor?" Stuff like that. While I kept insisting I was just a visitor and left to go bring my dad his juice. I had been in my dad's room maybe 10 seconds when this lady burst in with her paperwork demanding I help her fill it out. My mom was frozen in shock at this lady, while my dad was frantically pushing his call button to get help down here. I kept trying to dismiss this lady when an actual nurse came in the room thinking there was an emergency based on how often my dad was pushing his call button. The nurse said, "What's the problem?" And my dad said, "This lady is bothering me and my daughter." The nurse calmly looked at the lady and said she would be more than glad to help her at the nurse's station, if she could please leave the patient and his family alone. As the nurse and the lady left, I couldn't help but mutter under my breath, "I told you they could help you at the nurse's station," followed by some colorful language. Sorry, it may not be as exciting as the usual stuff posed here, but it's the only story I have and it's quite recent. Dad went home yesterday and seems to be in good shape, though Mom says he's kind of bored not being able to do any work around the house, like the lawn. He's supposed to stay at bed, and he has a very restricted diet. My older sister's flight gets in tomorrow morning, and then we are driving back to see him tomorrow after I pick her up at the airport.